Welcome to the show, Profound Thinkers Investing. We're so glad that you're here with us today. Today we're exploring part 3 with Dohn Thornton, the short sales specialist. We're going to be looking at outsourcing short sales for negotiation, the pros and cons, and what you need to be aware of in this current economic situation. Sit back and enjoy the show.
We practice tough love. We will not accept a packet that's not complete, and we will not accept any. If they haven't done all the steps we say to get to the point where we submit the thing, then we don't take it. So, but we also say, on the other hand, we're not going to take a dime of your commission, and you're not going to have to do anything more than just get the file to us when you're ready to submit. And then we'll do everything else. And up until closing, there's very little that the negotiator, very little that the listing agent has to do. And so that frees them up to do their highest and best use, which is getting more clients, right? And that's what we want them to do. We want realtors are trained. They are trained to take care of their clients. They are not trained to negotiate discounts with banks. That's not their competency. Attention to detail and consistency are always going to be valued, especially if you think about this. Negotiators up to this point have not been overwhelmed like they were during the crash. So they pay more attention to your files. Let's put it that way, okay? But now that things are going to get ramped up and they're going to start getting hundreds of files on their desk, which files do you think they're going to push through quickly? The clean files, the ones that they know are they're not going to have to spend too much time on, but that we've done most of the work for the negotiator ourselves. And this is a very important factor here. Ideally, every file should get the same consideration, right? Just like in the United States of America, ideally, every race, creed, color, beliefs should be equal. In reality, we're not, right? It's a sad fact of life, but it's not. So by the same token, they also will give favoritism to people they know and trust. We know most of these negotiators on a first name basis. They know us, they know our files, they respect us. So we get the benefit of the doubt a lot. If there's like a $10,000, $15,000 difference between our offer and what the banks offer or what they want, we can get them to meet us halfway and get the deal done. If you don't have that relationship and trust built up with a negotiator, they're not going to go the extra mile for you. They're just going to say, that's it, and move on to the next. So,
or they'll tell you that this is just the way it is. We don't negotiate.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Exactly.
Because remember, they get paid bonuses too. They need to close.
Mm-hmm.
So they get bonuses from their company for the amount of files that they close. Mm-hmm. So their self-interest is weighs on them when they make decisions about which ones to push and which ones not to push. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. And you have to be realistic about the way these things work. So, I have a course that I'm launching next week. It's a manual and it's a video. It's written and a video manual. And for people out there that want to learn how to do short sales, I will gladly sell you the thing. I will gladly provide you some after purchase consulting as necessary. But I urge people, that I speak with about this, that you really ought to think about outsourcing it to us. You can try it, that's fine. But you ever heard of the author Malcolm Gladwell?
Yes.
Okay,
Outlanders.
You know his theory about
Outliners, I think.
You have to have 10,000 reps to get good at it, right? The idea that an athlete, let's say a tennis player, that in order for a tennis player to have a lethal down the line forehand, that tennis player has to hit that same shot 10,000 times to get proficient at it, to really get it down pat. And so how many hours is that of hitting 10,000 forehands down the line? Okay. It's anything you master in life takes repetition. I've learned, like you said, 4 languages. And I can tell you that it doesn't matter how talented you are, if you don't spend a certain number of hours in conversation practice with a native speaker, if you don't spend a certain number of hours, if you don't memorize the vocabulary, if you don't have an active vocabulary of at least 5,000 to 7,000 words in that language, you are never going to speak it. It's the same anytime you want to master a skill. You have to spend time doing it. Now the question is how many short sales do you have to do on your own before you reach a certain level of confidence? How many homeowners are going to suffer because you're cutting your teeth on
right?
Yeah,
that's an important point. That's an important point. And you can cut the learning curve by just getting mentorship. You know,
yeah, but it's just, and I would say though that what's the analogy I was going to use? I was going to say that everybody wants to brand themselves, right? It takes a while to build your brand. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're on social media, you can't become an influencer in 2 weeks. And you have to get followers, you have to throw out good content, you have to be consistent, and you have to have a message, right? So for you to become to develop your brand in whatever whatever field you're in, you need time to build that up. Your brand is how well does the short sale negotiator know you and appreciate your competency, right? So nobody does anything without making mistakes at the beginning. So if you start making mistakes, typical mistakes, when you're starting early, that you don't know, you have to learn by experience. Well, you're going to burn some bridges with some negotiators who are going to be there with you at the beginning, and that negative impression that you create as you're just getting started is going to stick for a while. So. And that means you have to overcome a lot more difficulties because your files are going to be located at the bottom of the pile more often than not than at the top. And again, it's not just you out there working for free. It's you got a family, a homeowner that doesn't want to ruin their credit. So, economically speaking, financially speaking, and morally speaking, should you think about outsourcing it to begin with and learn as you go? Learn by watching. The best in football, for example, the best quarterbacks tend to do better. The ones that come in and they don't play right away. They sit on the bench and they learn. They watch and they learn. Give them a year or two to get used to it. Then you throw them into the battle. And that's kind of what I suggest to people who are wanting to get into the short sale game. Don't dive in head first; you'll drown. Leverage the opportunity you have, like with a company like ours, to be able to do the heavy lifting for you as you learn how to work the short sales. And then if you feel like you've reached a point where you've seen it, you've gone through it, you know how to do it, then God bless. Best of luck. We can't cover everybody in the United States. We know that. I feel much better about having someone come in with us initially, cut their teeth with us, at least learn the listing side on how to set up a clean packet. And then, with the teaching that we give, the manuals and the knowledge that we give you, then you can you'll be better able to take the next step. Because frankly, a clean packet to a negotiator is you're already halfway home if you can provide that. And it's so tragic and I guess if you want to look at it from a black humor point of view, it's laughable, of how many stupid mistakes people make, just because they're in a hurry or they just want to say, I'll just throw something, I'll throw a butt against the wall and see what sticks, right?
What do you think a clean packet is defined as?
Well, as I said before, a clean packet is where Well, first of all, you don't want to. The biggest mistake I've seen in realtors and investors, or let's say realtors who work with investors, they make is they list the property and take it pending right away. That right there,
Say that again, one more time.
they get a short sale listing and they take it as a pending listing. Right, they take a contract right away,
Okay.
and they take a low ball offer right away. Okay, you're going to get turned down immediately, and your file is going to be a red flag. Okay? You're not going to be able to get out from under that hole. You know, your short sale is not going to work. So we teach people that they need to have the property listed for a minimum of 15 to 20 days before they take a contract. Okay, that's step number one. That's a very important part of having a clean file. Second of all,
wow, that's interesting.
Yes. And second of all, you have to show the lender with reports that you're showing the property. You're actively showing the property. Back in my day when we first got started, it was so easy because there was no Zillow. Like I said, it was easy just to make it active as an active listing in MLS in name only, right? And then, but you would never really put it out there for people, and then you would just take it under contract with your investor at a certain price and go from there, and that was fine. You could do it back then. Can't do it anymore.
Do you think that method contributed to the crash of 2008?
No. The 2008 was toxic mortgages and an overall frenzy of people trying to make a buck in real estate, and it was artificially inflated, and it was a bubble.
Okay.
I'm just talking about people. I'm talking about people trying to manipulate the system to be able to get their contract in front of the negotiator, as opposed to the spirit of real estate, which is, you throw it out there and then you wait for your best offer to come through. They were purposely, and I was guilty of it. I'm saying I did the same thing, of trying to manipulate the system to where only your contract was the one that gets in front of negotiation. You can't do that anymore, but people still try. And that's what
it's a lose-lose to try that, though, because I just feel like we're in a state of abundance right now. So there's no reason to try to, undermine anyone. But let me ask you this question. This has been pending on my mind since we've been talking. So if we know that the best option for us is to have the favor of the negotiator, then wouldn't it seem that everything from the beginning of the process of the short sale should be preparing something where the negotiator has to do less work as possible, right? Absolutely. That's what you want to prepare.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, we will produce 60 plus pages of documentation, and every single thing we do, on the journey to where it gets to the negotiator, is we're giving them our reasons why, and we're showing what happened and why we're doing this and so forth. Because if it's all right there, they don't have to think too much now, do they? They don't have to push. Right.
I wonder what principle that is. Add value, perhaps.
Perhaps. I would say that the best favor you can do for a busy person is not have them do extra work, right?
Right.
And people who are busy and they want to run things through quickly and they want to get paid, they are appreciative of quality workmanship. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
Would you rather sit in a nicely crafted rocking chair that you feel comfortable that it's not going to collapse on you, right? Or do you just want something someone just threw together in their garage and here you go,
Right. Exactly.
You're building something that needs to be respected and appreciated. And listen, when you create a good impression with your packet, then, like you said, you get the negotiator on your side, and that's the difference a lot of times between winning or losing. But you have to be realistic here, and I hear this all the time with investors. Oh, I can't, short sales. Yeah, I'm going to come in there and make $50,000 on a deal. Not right now. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. The investors need to know that that back in the day, look, again, I made $100,000 on a short sale before in 2007. I mean, I was making $50,000, $70,000 a pop. I mean, I would get, I can't tell you how many houses I would get for $20,000.
Yeah.
And I should have gotten them for 150. I got them down to 20, right? It was amazing.
That was
right?
the negotiation process?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I was creating that kind of equity from thin air, basically. Why do you think I love short sales?
Huh?
I said, why do you think I love short sales? Because it was an amazing thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I tell investors, newbie investors, I tell them, look, there's only two ways to create equity. You can take an existing property, you can upgrade it, you can rehab it, and you can create equity with what you add to the property. Or in a short sale, by using your knowledge and your abilities, you can negotiate down debt to create equity. Now,
And it only makes sense because, like I heard another realtor say, or real estate investor say, equity is only monopoly money until it's spent. You understand?
absolutely.
I heard somebody say that, and that makes sense with the negotiation of the short sale.
Right. And it's like, I would say negotiating a short sale is very similar to in wartime if you're trying to plan an attack, right? And what a lot of attacks fail is because people overextend themselves and they put their head out there and someone comes in and chops it off, right? Because they were overreaching themselves, right? And you have to know the lay of the land right now so that way you don't make mistakes. And because we've been doing this for so long and we've never stopped, our finger is on the pulse. We know what's going on. We know what they're giving and what they're not. And right now, it's $15,000 to $20,000 is doable to create a profit of $15,000 to $20,000. That's doable.
Mm-hmm.
Not $50,000. It's not $40,000. It's not $70,000. If you try for those kind of spreads, you're going to crash and burn. You can't do
With
it.
the current market.
With the current market. Now, in my opinion, if we continue down this path, economically speaking, 6 months from now, 7 months from now, maybe towards the end of the year, I think these numbers are going to be doable again. I do.
The 50K.
There's going to be pressure to get these things through. But right now, there's not yet. So you have to be realistic and you have to play the long game and be patient. And don't try for more than you can get. Stay with what is reasonable. And if you try for the bigger numbers, you're going to be working for free and not making anything at all because you're going to get okay.
Right.
So again, part of being a professional at something is knowing the limitations at that moment and not trying to live in a fantasy land of, well, I want to make all this money in short sales. You can right now. Maybe later it'll get easier, but it's not easy now. And every single thing you do has to be justified, and it has to be realistic, justified. It has to be reasonable. Okay, you cannot come in there and say that a roof repair is $50,000. It's not, right? You got a 900 square foot property. That's an $8,000 roof, right? It's not $50,000. Okay.
That'll instantly lose your credibility amongst the negotiator.
Yes, and not just the negotiator, the appraisers, right?
Right.
You make your money, one, by influencing the appraiser, and two, by doing value disputes with the bank. And the rules are the same. It has to be reasonable. And as soon as they feel like you're trying to pull a fast one on them, you're going to shut you down. No, you're not going to get arrested or anything. I'm just saying that your file's going to be stuck in the graveyard.
Red flag.
Yeah, red flag, and it's not gonna work. But is it worth red flagging yourself and putting yourself on a blacklist with the negotiators and with these lenders because you tried to overreach? Or
is it worth just going in integrity, thinking about, you want to help this client before they fall into a situation where you can't help them anymore?
Well, that's the investor mindset, right? The investor's mindset is I want to get a score. right? And you're somewhat the market decides what you can make if you're trying to flip a house in a good market, right? Short sales, you have a third party that's making those decisions. How much you're going to make.
Right.
So, but the thing is that generally, in a rising economy, usually investors don't screw things up to where a person goes into foreclosure, because if they have equity, they're going to give the homeowner some money, and then they're going to get the deed, and they're going to do whatever they're going to do, right? But in a short sale, you don't make any money unless it closes, and it doesn't close unless you get a decent value and a fair value, and the homeowner is the one's going to suffer in this situation if you don't do a good job. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's funny. I'm 56 years old now. I started in my mid 30s in real estate, and the older you get, the more you appreciate how you did your job as much as the results of how you did your job.
Right.
But the nice thing about this is, if you, coming back to the idea of working with a third party company like ourselves to do the negotiations, if you have someone that's doing the nuts and bolts of it, then you can focus your efforts on getting more clients. And when your numbers aren't as high, your profit margins aren't as high, how is the best way to keep your volume up? How to keep your revenue coming in? More houses.
More clients.
Right, exactly. So you focus on building your pipeline, and we focus on monetizing your pipeline with reasonable profit and consistent closings.
It's called Teamwork Makes the Dream Work in the Age of Aquarius, Don. That's what we're entering into now, people.
Yes.
I want to thank Don for being with us here today on Profound Thinkers Investing, the show. We've had a great conversation about this coming economy. We're in the midst of it, folks. We're seeing every day in the news what's going on with the current virus that's permeating the country and the world. And we have to be prepared not only for our physical health, but we need to look at our economic situation and make sure we're doing what we need to do in terms of our time. So Don shared with us today how we can divide up our time by hiring his company as a negotiator in our short sales and free up that time to get more clients. So we thank you again, Don, for this valuable information. Good day, good evening, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the show. We are now embarking upon Wisdom's Corner, where we reflect on what we learned. Dohn Thornton came through with the negotiating and outsourcing of short sale information. He has been doing this work for over 20 years and has established a company by the name of HB Funding and has expertise in negotiating with the bank negotiator to make sure his clients are satisfied. So in Wisdom's Corner today, we are going to further explore what we learned, reflect on those things. So we learned from Don that the listing agents are trained to take care of clients rather than negotiate with the bank. So relationships with bank negotiators are important because they give favor to those they know and trust, according to Don. And Don has established these types of relationships over his 20 years of experience in real estate. When we recorded this episode, Don was actively outsourcing his short sales expertise. Now he has transitioned into specifically focusing back on Florida in terms of short sales. But he will relaunch his coaching perhaps in the fall. We have to spend time on a new skill set until we master it. And we learned that from Don when he mentioned the book by Gladwell. Our brand in short sales, as we seek to become experts, according to Don, is how well the banks know and appreciate our level of competency and how well the negotiator knows us. So relationships in any aspect of business and life are the key factors that help everyone to grow. It is almost a moral obligation for listing agents to outsource short sales, according to Dohn. And the leverage the opportunity of outsourcing creates allows for the listing agent to learn and work with a company like HB Funding and not at the expense of a client. The biggest mistake that listing agents make is taking an offer right away in short sales, according to Dohn. We must actively show the banks in short sales that the listing agent is actively showing the property. Dohn also teaches the spirit of real estate is to place the home on the market and wait for the highest and the best offer. Dohn's company prepares a 60-page document for the negotiator in the process of the short sale to create a good impression for the negotiator, and so his team wins more often. We can create equity in one of two ways, according to Dohn, in the short sales arena. We can upgrade the value of the property or negotiate down the value of the property. The current market is offering $10K to $15K profit per short sale deal, according to Dohn. Dohn is timing the market, though, and sees the trends eventually shifting to higher profit margins as the area of investing becomes more active, and that area is short sales. So we hope that you gained a lot of knowledge. This Wisdom's Corner could not contain all the wonderful jewels that Dohn dropped. You must rewatch it again and take your pen and paper and take notes for yourself, because he dropped so many gems in that small segment that you want to probably jot that down for study. And we thank you for being here once again on Profound Thinkers Investing, the show. And we welcome you to come back again. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.